Yes.
the quickest.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, we'll get prizes for who touches the shark first. And for the kids who are a little bit scared, that's okay, because they're going to be the ones that have to jump out of the plane first when we go skydiving.
Absolutely. I love the idea. Let's see. I think we should also make sure that they eat first.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna
absolutely
stuff with pizza, with dessert, and so as they're as they're free falling, I mean, they're gonna be throwing up everywhere.
This is the Mental Mettle Podcast, where we explore how to forge mental toughness and resilience in every aspect of life. Welcome, I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann. I'm an ICF certified professional coach with a background as a teacher, basketball coach, and athletic director. But my journey took a dramatic turn in 2020 when I survived both cancer and a stroke. Those experiences shaped my mission to help others grow stronger in every facet of life. Today, I work with athletes, coaches, educators, and anyone who believes that positive mental health is both achievable and a personal responsibility. This podcast is dedicated to helping listeners develop a positive version of toughness, one rooted in resilience, focus, and growth. Whether you're looking to excel on the field, in the classroom, or in life, this is your space to learn, grow, and take action. Join me on this journey, and together, let's forge your mettle. A paragon is a model of excellence, a standard by which others are measured, which makes it a perfect word for Olympians who embody dedication, resilience, and the very peak of physical and mental performance. With that in mind, we want to highlight our partners at the American Paragons Foundation. They're a nonprofit supporting Team USA athletes in underfunded women's and adaptive sports by helping them with career opportunities, media exposure, and real-world support beyond competition. Here at the Mental Mettle Podcast, we are proud to be collaborating with them and help amplify the stories and missions of athletes who deserve more visibility. Check out AmericanParagons.org to learn more. There are a ton of ways you can get involved that don't cost a dime. All right, here we go. It's the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann. Before we get into the interview today, which is phenomenal, just a couple housekeeping things. If you're on the YouTube, watching me on YouTube, you'll see above my head here my brand new sign, the Mental Mettle Podcast sign. It's fantastic. I love it. My good friends at Vital Signs in East Peoria, Illinois, created that for me. Thankful for them. It's awesome. I love it. So it's good stuff. It's got my own sign on the podcast, and that's pretty cool. The other thing I want to talk about is I've got a new offering out there. It's completely free. So before we say anything, it's completely free. And what I've done is, so I spend a lot of my time working with individual athletes. I do mental performance coaching, a lot of online stuff with athletes. I've worked as young as 8 all the way up through some pro guys. Do a lot of athletes. I'm doing a lot of work now getting into schools in my Ember to Inferno program and working with coaches and helping coaches build some of that mental toughness, that positive mental toughness in their athletes. And I also create this podcast, is one of the reasons I do it is to get the messages out there, not just to the athletes, not just to the coaches, but to the parents as well. And I've had a couple episodes that are specifically geared for parents on some of this stuff, and that's what I'm trying to get that message out there. But I realize that I'm spending all this time with the athletes, all this time with the coaches, but when we're talking about the mental health and the mental toughness of athletes, the parents are just such a integral part of this. And my dog here, Decimus, is joining me on the podcast. He doesn't have much to say, but he's very helpful here. So there's a couple things here with the parents, is that they make such a vital part, or such a pivotal role, but I don't ever really address them. And, coaches or parents aren't going to sign up for mental performance coaching to help with their, with their athletes, even though I've done a couple seminars before and worked with the parents, and it's really helpful. But I decided I'm just not reaching them as I could and helping them like I could, and that's what I really want to do here. And so I've created a free online email course that is geared just for parents. It's called Resilient Parents Playbook. If you just type that into your search bar, Resilient Parents Playbook, it'll come up. I'll put a link in the show notes. And that's its entire goal, is to help the parents and help them learn some of the things that I'm working on with the athletes, with the coaches. If we can get, if we take it down to the level of one athlete, and if we can work with an athlete and they get some of the ideas on positive psychology and forging your metal and those things that I work with, and their coaches talked about some of these things and how to build their positivity and work with embodiment and working on their voice and things like that. And then we get the parent doing it and having these conversations. We have such a powerful tool on the shared language and shared ideas around how to build your athlete. It's really helpful. Whereas if we've got, one of the three of those pillars, the athlete, the coach, and the parent, not involved in that, it can really make it harder on the athlete. And look, I'm not saying that everybody needs to be thinking exactly like I think, but I do think there's a lot to be said for the tools that I'm working. They're very well researched, they've proven to work, not just with me, but with others and other coaches. But if we can get everybody doing that or something like that, or in that idea and moving forward positively, then we stand a better chance of helping that athlete not just become their best athlete, but their best person. And that's what we're trying to do. So check it out. It's Resilient Parents Playbook, and I'll put a link on the show notes. Just sign up, completely free. You just get emails and read whenever you're able to, and just learn some of the ideas that I'm working on. But let's get into the podcast today and my guest today. My guest today is, he's high level. It's good stuff. So he's a coach. He's a performance coach, keynote speaker, and an author who specializes in not just coaching and better mindsets, but he does it through improvisation, like the whole "whose line is it anyway" and things like this, like the thing we think as comedy. And he uses that idea to build mindsets, teams, and cultures. And he's written a book called Live, Yes, and if you know anything about improv, the idea yes and is it's like a foundational building block of improv. And so his book, again, Live, Yes, and What Improv Taught Me About Leadership, Teamwork, and the Meaning of Life. And he has worked with some very elite organizations, most notably probably the U.S. soccer team, which is cool, which is so the U.S. men's national team there. He's worked with the Yankees, the Miami Marlins, Georgia football, and all kinds of top corporate teams. So he's big time, right? He does a lot of stuff. And what makes it really unique is just how he uses that improvisational comedy. So it makes it fun, but helpful and also insightful. And he is an improv comic himself. So he took it and said, how can I use that with athletes and coaches, and helps them, stay present, reset quickly, build connections, and just build a new culture of positivity, because yes and is a positive idea. And it also is the idea of yes and is to make your teammates look brilliant, not just yourself. And that's what's really cool. So not only that is we're going to talk about that, but I was excited to chat with Travis, but then he jumps on and we just start doing some improv in this interview and showing me, not just telling me how it works, but showing me how it works. It's awesome. really check in this episode is fantastic. I love it. This interview with Travis Thomas, author, speaker, coach, all those things. So check it out. I'm going to break down a little bit on the other side of the interview, but enjoy it. I love it. It's great.
Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness, using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Thomann, at Mental Mettle Coaching.
Here we go. It's the Mental Mettle Podcast, and I'm here with my guest today, Travis Thomas. Travis, I don't know exactly how to introduce you, but I know you're a performance coach, keynote speaker, author, and the really coolest part that I want to say that connects all these together, and I think that's what we're going to talk about the most, is that I believe if I got my timeline correct, that all started from you being an improvisational comedian.
Yeah. You got it right. Yeah.
That's just telling that story and how we get to there, and then how you use improv as a mindset hack for things everywhere from, man, you can tell me, but I know you've worked with USA Soccer. I know you've worked with the Marlins, the Yankees, all sorts, Georgia football, all sorts of football teams, and I know you do a lot of soccer, and then also you do corporate stuff,
yes,
right, to help people with that. So I do mental performance coaching, but we must not do it the same way, because I get what I'm really excited to see how you integrate it and how you use it. And so tell me, give me a little bit of background, how you got started. Tell me as much as you want until how you made this transition.
Yeah, so I'll try to keep it as interesting and short as possible. The starting point would be sports. Growing up in Flint, Michigan, I think I played every sport that I was allowed to play or could play, or at least tried it. I tried tackle football for a year, found out that wasn't for me. I didn't like being hit, Matt. I didn't want to be hit. Yeah, I didn't like that. I grew up in a town where sports was just a huge part of the community, and I fell in love with sports. I ended up gravitating towards soccer and played soccer I went on to play soccer in Division III in college. And
where'd you play at?
Little. You may have heard of it, Matt. You're a Midwestern guy. It's called Principia College.
Yeah.
Okay. A little D3 school. I love to tell people I was a.
Are they SLIAC or not?
They are. They're still.
See,
SLIAC.
Come on, I know.
I know. You know your conferences.
Yeah.
SLIAC's changed a lot, but Principia has been there probably 50 years at this point. And I am proudly a mediocre Division III soccer player who ended up on the men's national soccer team staff. So go figure.
Listen, that's what's great about and I've always say that the best players don't always make the best coaches.
Yeah.
And sometimes the best coaches weren't the best players because
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was neither. So, so I'm a proponent of, figure out something that when you find something that you love and are passionate about, and you develop some competency around it, and you especially find a way to create maybe a niche or a lane that maybe didn't exist before. Maybe you're able to add value in a way that hasn't been done before. And so I think that's kind of what I fell into. That wasn't my design, but that was sort of the outcome. But
Yeah. I get that. I say that all the time when I'm speaking, that some of the stuff I'm putting, I always feel weird like putting it out there, because I will always preface it and say, look guys, this isn't rocket science. Like the things I'm giving you, but I'm giving you a different way to see it and a different way to think it and a different way to apply it. And I think so what you're saying, I feel that a lot.
Yeah. So I had no desire growing up to get into the mental conditioning space or improvisation or any of it. But once I graduated from college, my wife and I got married right out of school, and we found ourselves a couple years into our marriage living in Boston, Massachusetts. There was a brand new improvisational comedy theater that had just opened. We went and saw a show, and I grew up in Michigan. There used to be Second City in Detroit, and there's always been Second City Chicago. So I grew up going to Second City shows and falling in love with improvisation, but never doing it or thinking that I would ever be able to do it. And so, being whatever, let's say I'm 24, 25 in Boston and seeing this show, and I'm just like blown away. I'm blown away at the skill of the improvisers on stage to create something out of nothing. And I'm like, they're talented, but there has to be a skill set behind it. And so they were starting a training center, i.e. classes. And, I was dumb enough to sign up and go, I want to take some classes. And, an 8-week level 1 class turned into a year and a half later, 6 levels of training center later. I was hooked, and I was a member of the first ever graduating class of the Improvisational touring company in Boston, Massachusetts. I was class 1, Matt. I think they're on like class 300 now.
Which is funny, because it's like, you've done great with it, and I'm sure you do great. But like class 1 probably didn't get the best of the training. Like it was probably just figure it out as you go.
Yes and no, because it's like it's a startup. So my teachers in the class were the owners, like they were the directors, owners, and performers of the company. And so now, now they have a full staff. Back then it was like, man, the guy that I just saw perform is my teacher, and he owns the business. And as a result, right, like we're still friends to this day. Those are amazing guys. And so, I'm in the first graduating class, and then they were having auditions for a touring company because they were growing. And they're like, you should audition. It'd be a good experience, like to get an audition under your belt, not thinking I would make it.
Right.
And I did well at the audition, and I made the touring company cast. And now I'm like, wow, like I get paid to do this once a weekend. And
now, time out. Did you have a real job at this point?
Oh yeah. I'm a 9-to-5 guy. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yes. Yeah. As most of us were, like we all had and that was kind of the part of the beauty of it, Matt, was, and I would say most of the people that took improv classes, adults that took improv class, like you would look at people and go, I would never expect you, like here comes a finance dude, and then here comes this person, and you're like, and then you all get in that space together. And it was almost like that space is where you gave yourself permission to not be an adult and just get with a group of people and play. Right. And like obviously the creativity and play, and then you're learning the rules of play. Well, how do you play based on these rules? And it's all about embracing failure, and it's all about connecting, and it's listening and building, and you're not controlling anything, and you're creating, you're focusing on truth over comedy, and you're creating character, and you're making choices, and you're trying to ground those choices in reality and your perspective, and it was just fun, and it was like therapy before I even got into the mental conditioning space, and all of that to say, so I worked my way up from the touring company to the developmental cast to the main stage cast, where I was like, this is amazing. I'm doing 3, 4, 5 shows a weekend, getting paid, in a major, city, and walking around going like, I'm somebody. I'm not, but it was just fun. And then, we ended up moving to Florida. I co-founded a group with 2 other gentlemen down in Jupiter, Florida. And man, we just did a show right before Christmas. The three of us have been performing for 21 years now.
Really?
And that's not taking into account the 4 I did before starting the group. And so, we try to sneak a couple of shows in a year because we're all living in different spots. And so the three of us have been doing shows for 21 years. And it was, at that time, early on in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, where I kind of went through a career shift of like, hey, what do I really want to do with my life? And I really wanted to get into, kind of the coaching space, kind of like life coaching, mindset coaching, executive coaching. And so I did a deep dive into personal development, and, I didn't go back and get a psychology degree, but I did a ton of programs and like deep dive, multi-year programs, and got accreditations and different things, and just realized that this was the work that I wanted to do, which led me into the corporate space, which led me into living and working at a boarding school, which then led me to IMG Sports Academy down in Florida, where I was a leadership coach for 3 years, where that was like the test kitchen where I really got to play around with the improvisation and bring improvisation with kids into a performance space. When I really realized after 3 years of being there that all this improv training and this improv knowledge, as I applied it specifically to the mental performance, leadership, teamwork space, so many of not only the activities, but the principles and the ethos of improvisation were performance principles. And so as I started to apply them, like, to me, I was like, oh, this is my thing. Like I like, this is my avenue into this space that is unique. It's a niche, but also I'm looking at it going like, this is such a great way to introduce these concepts to people who have no desire to be comedians on stage, but can absolutely apply them to every aspect of their life.
It's so interesting because as you're talking about this, and as you were talking about improv and how you get into the coaching, and I was like, man, I don't know how you make this connection. But then as you say this, I went through a program, an organization called Lark Song. They do coaching. That's where I got my coaching certification. They do all the IFCs, ICF stuff. So it's and there was an exercise we did in which you had to coach someone, and we had to walk around and you pulled a name out of a hat, and it was a character like Yoda or Mary Poppins or whatever. And then I had to coach that individual as I was from Yoda or something like that. Very improvisational. And as you were saying that, I'm like, I get the connection, because a lot of time, like, a huge part of coaching is creativity and seeing things in a different way and looking at things with a different metaphor, a different perspective. And now I'm starting to see, like, this is really good stuff. I see how you get there.
Yeah. It's fun. It's interactive. It's experiential, especially working with youth athletes. And then when I left on 2015 to just kind of go off on my own and live Yes and create Live Yes and try to bring this to not only working with athletes and sports teams, but also working with companies and any organization. I was like, okay, wait, this works for adults too, right? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And again, it kind of harkened back to those early days of me taking classes where I'm like, oh, adults are actually looking for an excuse to play, but seldom given the opportunity to do so. And so, like, usually, like in my keynotes or my workshops or things like that, where so much of it is interactive activity based, and it on the surface it's very silly, but what's really going on at a deeper level, and then as we debrief the exercise and then talk about it in a deeper way, they're like, oh yeah, right, that's a lot bigger than, well, I mean we can do something right now, Matt, if you want to, and then we can.
Dude, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I love because I love seeing how this works, because when you start talking about play, that's another thing that I've learned in this coaching, is that, like, the retention that we have on thoughts and concepts during play is, like, I forget what the stats are, but it's so much higher than when we just sit down and try to learn something. Like, if we're at play, we learn so much more. Yeah. So I'm all in.
All right. So this is just an improvisational warm up. We do this before any class, any show. Okay. We do this before a show, and it's just called word toss. So, Matt, I'm going to say a word to you. whatever that word makes you think of. It can just be a word back. It can be a phrase. It can be a sound. It can be anything. But whatever it makes you think of, you're just going to say that back to me. And I'm going to respond to what you gave me and respond back to you. And we're just go back and forth, back and forth. The goal here is to respond, don't think. And there is no wrong answer, right? So this is your podcast. You can be as inappropriate as you feel comfortable with. I'm going to stay very, very appropriate. But just don't overthink. And so when you're listening and responding, you're listening and responding. Make sense?
Got it.
Awesome. Here we go. I'll come to you first. Here we go. Coffee.
Cream.
Stir.
Drink.
Liquid.
Stain.
Oh, carpet.
Cleaner.
Stanley steamer.
Ooh, coveralls.
Dickies.
Cousin Eddie.
Christmas vacation.
Oh, Chevy Chase.
Clef in his chin.
Ooh, punch.
Oh, Mike Tyson.
Oh, Nintendo.
Oh, GameCube.
PlayStation.
Green.
Oh man. Eco.
System.
Biology.
Fail.
Fail.
Yeah, I failed biology.
Oh, fail. I got you. Fail. Pass.
College.
PhD.
Doctorate.
Medicine.
Science.
Math.
Numbers.
Letters.
Alphabet.
Soup.
Hot.
Yummy.
Tummy.
Rub.
Okay, we'll end right there. Good. All right. So,
Yeah.
All right. So, how do you feel, like, just physically, emotionally? How do you feel right now?
Yeah, it's a very mindful exercise, right?
Super mindful.
Yeah. It's like I'm not worried. I'm not thinking about anything else.
No, you're not thinking about anything. You're present.
Yeah.
You're in your body.
Yeah.
Right. You're probably, even though it was urgent, there's a little more calm, a little more relaxed, a little more focused.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Are you thinking about 5 minutes ago?
Not at all.
Are you thinking
I
about
can't even. Yeah.
5
Not at
minutes
all.
from that? No. So what we just did in probably 60 seconds, without needing to tell you, hey, Matt, we're going to do an activity right now that's going to allow you to be mindful and get focused and be in the moment. We have to say that this is what's going to happen. We're just going to say, hey, we're going to play a game, we're going to activity. This is what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's add some more components onto it. You and I, how connected were you to me?
I'm very paying attention to, like,
yeah,
very
and
much so.
So you're paying attention to me. You're not paying attention, really overly thinking yourself. And
well,
so
I feel like Travis, somebody could have walked in behind me.
Yeah, and been like, what in the world is he doing?
Well, I wouldn't even have noticed they were there.
You wouldn't notice. And if we were in person, because usually, right, if we were in person, I'd be doing this in person. If we were in person, you and I'd be standing face to face. Now there's a deeper level of connection. There's a deeper level of intimacy. We can do this in a circle with a group of 8 people, right? And where you don't know the order, and so there's a different level of uncertainty to it. You have to follow the focus, right? So now it becomes a focus exercise as well, because I could say it to him, and now you say it to me, and I got to say it to someone else. And so all of a sudden now there's focus, there's connection, there's communication, there's eye contact, there's listening, processing, responding. What we're not doing is thinking about the past. We're not thinking about the future. Mm-hmm. I have to be in the present moment. And so if I'm doing this with a group of athletes, why would this be relevant to a group of athletes? Because they have to stay in the present moment.
Right.
And
which is not something, it's something that I would say athletes struggle with more than anything physical.
Yeah. And then you can blow that up and say, not just athletes, everybody. Right. And so if you and I were to, have a starting point for performance, right? A starting point for performance. The starting point is your ability or our ability to stay in the present moment. Because where does performance happen?
In the moment.
In the moment, now.
Yeah.
The now and now. Where does the human brain want to go? It wants to go backwards or forwards or over here or over here. And so when do we make mistakes as performers, as athletes, as people? When do we make mistakes? When we lose our focus. When do we get stressed out as an athlete? When we are fixated on an outcome or we are fixated on a mistake. So all of these things that take us out of the present moment is what causes our performance in the present moment to suffer.
Yeah.
Which is why you have mantras, which is why you give yourself specific focal points, which is why you focus on specific behaviors instead of outcomes, because we try to create habits, routines, and mechanisms that bring the individual back to where the present moment, when, now, where, here, because this is where the moment is happening.
Welcome to Mental Mettle Coaching, where our mission is to help you learn to thrive in the face of adversity, not just survive it. We are passionate about empowering you to live, play, and work with a resilient and spirited mindset. Hi, I'm Matt Thomann. I'm an ICF professional coach and keynote speaker. My background as an athlete, basketball coach, teacher, and school administrator has equipped me with the insights that resonate deeply with the schools, teams, athletes, and coaches I work with. However, it's my personal journey through anxiety, cancer, and an ischemic stroke in 2020 that truly brings authenticity to my presentations. While learning to speak and write again, I also pursued and earned my ICF coaching certification. Now the practices I embrace are more than theoretical concepts. They're a way of life. Developing a positive mindset is within reach for all, but it requires self-awareness and the repetition of intentional activities. At Mental Mettle Coaching, we'll guide you, your staff, and your students on this transformative journey. Together, let's forge your mettle. How do you find it helps with somebody who's maybe their sympathetic nervous system is activated? Do you find this to be like almost like more fun than saying take a breath, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. It could be as simple as, hey, take a breath. Hey, take a deep breath and, hey, look at me. Right. And let's go. Let's do a little word toss.
Yeah.
Right? Because if the nervous system is hijacked, they're in overthinking mode.
Yes.
Right. They're spinning.
Yeah.
You want to just kind of, you want to force it to stop spinning. How do you force it to stop spinning? Oh, now you've got to focus now on this. Just respond to this. Hey, just respond to this. Respond to the next word. Respond to the next word. Respond to the next word. And then you're back in your body. And it's just it's that reset.
Yeah.
It's that reset. And it can be it can be any number of mindfulness hacks.
Sure.
Right?
There's so many.
Yeah. And the key is finding, again, for each person, right? Finding which works best for you, or finding which works best for you in that moment.
Yeah. I think that's something now I just working on this today, working with people, putting some presentations together. And I love to call this thing you got to create your own reset button, whatever works for you, and know, like, one, you got to recognize when I'm thinking about the past, when I'm thinking about the future, when my nervous system, my my sympathetic is triggered, and then actually have a way to, like, this works for me, and I'm going to hit the reset button.
Yeah.
And then it's a great time to, okay, what am I supposed to be focusing on right now? Right. And,
exactly.
So I love the idea of improvisation being a way, part of that reset button, or a possibility for it.
Without a doubt, because again, I'm a fan of meditation. I'm a fan of reflection. I'm a fan of getting out in nature. I'm a fan of breath work. I'm a fan of visualization. All of these things are great tools. But if you have to ask me, when are you most mindful? It's when I'm improvising. And why am I most mindful when I'm improvising? Just because I realize, in order for me to do well, I have to stay in the present moment because it's unscripted, and I've got to stay in the moment in order to further the story and create something meaningful. As soon as I get distracted in my head, past or future, which is just me nervous and overthinking, which is what we as humans do. I know it's going to be rocky because I'm missing what's going on. And so word toss is a good example of kind of being able to turn off the overthinking and just respond. Because that's whatever your sport is, right? If it's a ball sport, like I will tell people, hey, just remember this mantra. Where's the ball? What do I need to do? Or where's the ball? Where do I need to be? And it's because I say, hey, where's the ball? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, where's the ball? Is the ball in the past or the future? They're like, the ball is in the present. Yeah, the ball is always in the present moment. So if you want to focus on something that's always in the present moment, focus on the ball. Which is why, and I don't know if this is true or not, Matt, but I'm like, oh, okay, like, why are we, when it comes to meditation and breathing, why do we ask people to focus on their breath? It's in the body, and it's now. Your breath is always in the present moment. So if I can focus on my breath, I'm actually focusing on the thing that's in my body and is in the present moment. And now I'm regulating my physical body based on the thing that's actually in the present moment. Well, if I'm playing a sport, I can focus on my breath, that's fine. But I'm like, okay, what is the question I'm constantly having to answer as the athlete is, what do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do now? Well, where's the ball? What do I need to do? And now it's there. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And now, and that's obvious, this is an oversimplified idea, but it's like you even said it earlier. The goal is to not get distracted.
Right.
Right. But it's impossible. Right. So it's not, oh shoot, I'm an idiot, I got distracted. No, you're human. We're going to get distracted. The goal is, how quickly can I notice when I am distracted?
Yes.
And then what is my technique for re-engaging with the present moment?
I think both of those are like, I think it's a real skill to recognize when I'm distracted, and then another skill to refocus. And I think that, I mean, obviously you and I are in the same space, so I know you're going to agree with this, but I think that this is a skill that has been, what's the word? I don't want to say like scoffed at or thought that, that you can't practice it, but the truth, you can absolutely practice it. It's a skill you can develop, and you can get so much better at it.
Yeah. And it requires intentionality. Right. It requires, the intentionality. And I'm looking up, my 18-year-old is playing video games right now. So he's probably can't hear me, but I'm a big fan of long, deep breathing, right? And nose breathing compared to mouth breathing, right? The research will tell you that, right?
Nitrates and all that, the whole thing. Yep.
So much better, helps with your overall endurance. Yeah. But if I went out for a run right now, I would be doing some mouth breathing. Yeah. And I'm like, oh shoot. Like, so when I've tried to train myself, I'm like, man, this is hard. So as I've worked with not only my own kids, but like athletes in general, I was like, hey, we do some nose breathing activities. Like, hey, when you guys go out to train today, try to nose breathe. And they come back to like, that was really hard. I'm a mouth breather. I was like, yeah, I know. So we should probably practice that. So like, I would even tell my own kid, hey, when you're gaming tonight, see if you can force yourself to nose breathe while you're gaming tonight, right? Like, so we can, as we start to practice some of these habits and some of these routines and some of these, then we start, we're going to improve and develop some skill around it. But we have to bring some intention to it, or nothing's going to change.
I tried that. Well, I used to run a lot, not so much anymore, but I used to run so much, and I was reading all the books about nose breathing and stuff. And I'm like, I'm just going to go out for a run and I'm going to do nothing but nose breathe. And I got home and I just had snot everywhere. Right. Cause it was just like, you're just not used to it. It was really, and I'm like, I don't know what, this is really hard, but it's something I definitely try to do, like when I'm intentionally breathing. I've never gotten too good at it when I'm trying to do exercise. It's difficult.
Yeah, and for me, it's when I notice the stress or anxiety, if I'm going through the day and I'm starting to think about everything that needs to be done, or just getting overwhelmed, or thinking about a big storm that's getting ready to come through the area and having travel on Monday, and I start to okay, what and my trigger is when I feel that it's like my body at this point just knows to take a big nose breath, and I will feel myself doing that during the day, and I was like, oh, there it is, like that's what I need. So just stop, pause, give myself 60 seconds, right? Just close my eyes and just literally take the next 60 seconds and just and just take a few long inhales, long exhales, and it slows everything down.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
that spinning.
Yeah. It's what's really interesting is we have this scenario where a kid, or heaven forbid a spouse, comes up and they're really worked up, and we say, hey, just breathe. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it usually doesn't go well. Right. Mm-hmm. Because unless you've practiced it. And mm-hmm. that's why I think breath work is so important, because we say in these moments of high stress and high pressure, it's really important to breathe. But if you haven't practiced it with no pressure, it's really hard to figure out how to do it when there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And that, if you want to it doesn't matter what it is, Travis, if you want to get better at something, you have to practice it. You can't just say, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's why breath work in your bed or before whenever is so important, so that you have that skill in your pocket when you need it.
Yeah. That's why I'm a huge fan, Matt, of just developing micro habits, mm-hmm. and something for any of us, the feeling of I've got to practice something or a new habit or a new behavior. It can be overwhelming from the start, because it's oh shoot, I don't know if I have that much time to dedicate to X every day. And it's well, hey, do you have 5 minutes? Right? Or 10 minutes. Yeah. Everyone has 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
I mean, how much time we
have?
Yeah. How much are on your phone? Right.
Exactly. Oh, and literally it could be I go to bed at night and I'm oh, I was supposed to work on my breathing. Oh shoot. Then you're do you have 5 minutes right now?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll sit up in bed for a second, set the timer on the bed, and fine. If I did 5 minutes of just deep breathing, deep meditative breathing, great. 5 minutes, stack up 5 minutes a day for 30 days.
It matters.
All of a sudden, that's some legit intentional time. And so anything that we want to try or feel just start small and commit to, whether it's 5 days a week or every day, but make it so small that it, if you forget and you don't remember until bedtime, you can still just do it right there and go to bed and go, all right, I did it today. Wake up, find time to do it then. All right, okay, good, yeah. I was doing the Wim Hof breathing app for a year, which is so cool, because you're able to, every time you do it, you're able to see how much longer you can hold your breath. Mm-hmm. Right. So now you're noticing each day, oh wow, that I was able to go for 2 minutes right today. And then the next day you're man, I can only do 50 seconds. But you're able to kind of test the progress, see the progress that you're making over time. And again, it only took a couple of minutes each day.
Yeah. I don't think it's the time. I think it's like you said, you have to, I've found when you want a new habit like that, you have to stack it with another habit.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I do this, I should also do this. Right. It's some sort of, one thing that I did when I really needed to get into some more breathing and meditation, I had a stroke, and they give you all kinds of medications at that point. Right. And then I went ahead and put hot tamales, and I put one in the evening and one in the morning in my pill organizer. That was I called it my meditation medication. So when I had that, before I could take that, I had to go do my 5 minutes. Right.
Yeah.
And it just
I was already going to go there, take those pills, do that. I might as well stack a habit to that. And because as much as we want to do it and say we'll do it, we don't hold ourselves very accountable. So you almost have to like build a new habit in.
Yeah. Yeah. And right. And it's attached to something important.
Yeah.
We have it sounds like you had a reward built in for your, for that as well.
Love me a good hot tamale, man.
Good hot tamale, little Mike and Ike hot tamales.
Yeah. They're good stuff.
and then, you're developing it in a way that it's almost so easy that you can't fail.
Yeah. So let's keep going on this. Like how you gave me one exercise for improv. And I know your book is what is it? Live, yes, and? Yeah.
So 3 words. And, 3 words for
and that I know that yes, it sounds to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that yes and has to be in fighting against our natural thing is yes, but
yes, but's an improvement, or just no.
Exactly. Or just no, you're right. Yeah. But I'd like to know like this whole system in the book and like how this, just go a little bit further with it.
Yeah. So clarification, there's a lot of kind people out there, and they'll see yes and somewhere, and they're like, Kohl's, oh my gosh, Kohl's did a whole yes and campaign for Christmas. They stole your concept. And I was like, oh, no, I didn't create the concept of yes and. Right. I added the live in front of it. The idea of yes and is the basis of improvisation.
I thought so when I saw that. I thought that's an improv thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've tried to find the genesis of like who do they attribute with the creator of just the concept of yes and it's so old, and it's so no one's attributed to it. I mean, who's popularized it, whether that's, Second City or, comedic actors, but the concept is just like, it is it's what you learn on day one of improvisation. And if you can master really, what that concept encapsulates, then you can improvise. And I mean, so Matt, the way that it works is if you and I are, we're 2 coaches. All right. So we're 2 coaches, and we're going to talk through the retreat we're taking our players on this weekend. Mm-hmm. Right. We're going on a team building retreat with our players, and we're gonna tell everyone what the players are going to do on the retreat, and you and I are going to adhere to yes and. So I will say something to you, and then you're going to force yourself to say yes.
Right.
And you're going to build off of the idea I gave you, which will further the idea and give me an idea back, to which I will say yes and build off of your idea that you gave me back and give you an idea back, and you will say yes and to my idea. And so we end up painting this tapestry of what, from an improvisational standpoint, would be the scene or the story, but we're just going to do it one yes and at a time.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So such a creative way to get the creative juices flowing, right?
Yeah. All right. So let's do it. You ready?
Let's do it. Yeah, I love it.
Matt, I am so pumped about the retreat that we're taking the players on this weekend. I got all the parents to sign the permission slips that are going to allow us to go swimming with sharks.
Yes, and I think that they should have like scuba gear so we can see it a little bit better.
Yeah. We're going to put half of them in scuba gear, and then half of them we're gonna tie like pieces of dead fish to attract the sharks.
Yes, and I think that we should not ask for any sort of interference from the Coast Guard.
Yes. Yeah. And I know a guy, and I've already told him that we're going to be doing this extreme team building in the water, and he said we are going to stay out of it.
Yeah. Yes, and I think we should give prizes for whoever touches like the shark the first,
Yes,
the quickest.
yes, yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah, we'll get prizes for who touches the shark first, and for the kids who are a little bit scared, that's okay, because they're going to be the ones that have to jump out of the plane first when we go skydiving.
Absolutely, I love the idea, let's see. I think we should also make sure that they eat first.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna we're gonna
absolutely
with pizza with dessert, and so as they're as they're free falling, I mean, they're going to be throwing up everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. That's even more chum for the whole process.
Oh yeah,
and I love that idea of just like absolutely.
Yeah. Because that chum in the water is gonna attract more fish, more sharks, and then that's going to build up their fear tolerance that they have to being in the ocean.
Absolutely. It's kind of like, so, and we'll see that kind of like almost like an aversion therapy, right?
Yes. Yeah. Face to face with your fear, right? Face to face with your fear. And then, right, their teammates, right, have to be there to like come and have their backs if the sharks decide to attack.
Yeah. And we'll see some of that team bonding from the way that they respond to each other, and we can like take notes of who protects who.
Yeah, I love that. And any of the parents who have been like a little bit too negative, right, will make them have to jump in and swim with the sharks as well.
Absolutely. I think that's I think that we could run through our list of who's sent the most complaints, and that's our order of who goes in first.
Yeah. Because you know what? If they gain a little humility and tolerance during this process, that's not bad for the team.
Absolutely not. That's fantastic. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Scene. We'll end it right there. Good.
Yeah.
All right. So yes and.
All
right. How many times did either one of us say no?
No, that's the whole point. Yeah.
So there's no. So it forces, from a storytelling standpoint, yes and forces you and I to work with one another instead of against one another. And even if we don't like the idea that we're getting from the other person.
Right. Which we clearly don't.
Right. So shoot. And so if we were to break down what does yes and mean improvisationally, yes is acceptance, right? It's like when you hear your partner just say yes, like you get a dopamine hit that they're in agreement with you. And for the person who has to say yes, you're giving your consent that this is real, and what am I going to do with it?
Right.
So the yes is consent, it's acceptance. The and is the solution or the building off of it.
Okay.
And so now you and I, our story, neither one of us are controlling the story. We're contributing to it. We're trying to work with one another, but we're not in control of it. And all we have to do is respond one yes and at a time. So, right, big light bulbs for me. If you take that philosophy off of the stage and into life, into your marriage, into your sports team, into your relationships, into your corporate environment, and say, hey, what if we created a collective mindset amongst this team that we're going to try to create a yes and culture here. And so what it forces is it forces you to lead with open-mindedness and collaboration.
Right. It's getting out of the box, right?
It's out of the box, and it's a deep recognition that you are not in control. It is a deep recognition that I am not in control. And you can say, you're not in control of what, Travis? And I'll say, you're not in control of anything.
Yeah.
All right. So to apply this to the deepest, hardest, realest aspect of anyone's life. Ultimately, what do I control in my life? I control my attitude. I control my effort, and I control how I respond.
Yeah.
I do not control anything else, because I don't control don't control the weather. I don't control the economy.
Right.
I don't control my spouse. I don't control my kids. I don't control my boss. I don't control the kids that I coach. There's influence, but influence is not control. And so I can do everything right and still have everything go wrong, right? I can go into 2020, thinking that my career is booming and like I'm speaking and nothing's going to get in the way of that because I'm doing everything right. And then you can have a global pandemic dropped in your lap that says, no, you're not
absolutely.
No, you're not speaking. Or you can get diagnosed with a serious health issue.
Yep.
And go, all right, control that. You can control that. Or life in its infinite number of ways can just throw you a curveball, not because you did anything wrong, but because you don't control it. You just don't control it. So yes, and is the recognition that I do not control 100% of what is happening to me.
No, but it's more than that. It's the power to understanding that you can react to
That's it.
React positively.
I don't control 100% of what is happening to me, and I control 100% of how I respond.
It's beautiful. I love it. I mean, so much of what you said in there is stuff that I do, that I work with. You and I are so aligned on so many things. I love the way that you're applying the yes and the improv to that idea, just to be like, because that our story about the sharks has no like actual benefit to anybody like about the sharks, but it's about our ability to respond positively and just be like, hey, that happened. What can I do? What can happen? This happened. I can do this. Right.
Yeah. So the activity is just a muscle. It's just we're activating a muscle, a mental muscle that whenever it comes to any aspect of our life where we're having to work with someone else, our default for most of us is control.
Yep.
So if you and I are trying to, if we're running a business together and we're trying to make some big decisions, or we're part of our team that's having to make big decisions, our default is going to be my perspective is better.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because it's my perspective. So
sure.
I wouldn't intentionally have a perspective that I think was wrong. But like if three of us are trying to solve an issue, odds are three of us are going to have three different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And each of us are going to think that our perspective is right.
Yeah.
So yes, and says, hey, what if we all brought our perspectives together and tried to work with one another instead of trying to convince all the others that we're smarter? What if we actually showed up with a yes and mentality and tried to tap into the collective brilliance of the group instead of the limited brilliance of who's smartest?
Yes, and trying to figure that out and worrying about that,
which is no one listening, everyone arguing.
Yeah,
there's no collaborating, because if you expand it, right, in our story, like who was in control of our story? You'd say, well, neither one of us is, right? But we both were. And so if you expand that to a team of 5 or 6, or a soccer team 11 on the field, right, or a soccer team of 20, you'd be like, well, whose team is this? Well, it's our team. Why is it our team? Because we are creating it. We're creating it one moment at a time, one yes and at a time. What is sports? Outside of NFL conspiracists who believe that it's scripted, every sport is, you put the ball or whatever, once the game starts, there's what we think is going to happen, and then what is actually happening. Every sport, just like life, it's all an improvisation.
Yeah.
You prepare yourself, but then once things start, your real job is to respond to what is happening, not what should be happening. And so it's all
and that's what we're talking about. Then we're getting to expectations, and how our expectations on how things are going to go or what things are going to happen. Those are killer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah, because it's an expectation is, again, if we go back to performances in the present. So my second book, Matt, that I wrote that came out last year, which is called Confidence is Overrated. That gets to your point about expectation. because an expectation is future casting or forecasting the result, what we think the result should be. And so, which is fine to anticipate, okay, hey, this, we think this could happen, this could happen. But if I am performing, if my expectation is this, it becomes a distraction from my actual performance.
Right.
Because the performance is based on what am I doing in the moment from moment to moment, not what the expectation is. So if I go into something I have no expectations, maybe I play a little bit looser, a little bit more relaxed, I end up doing really well. And I'll be like, oh, wow, why'd you do so well? I don't know. I was loose. I was just out there. Hey, I wasn't trying to win, or I wasn't trying to I was just, what were you really doing? I was just playing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden someone says, hey, you should crush this guy, or you should crush this team. And if you don't crush them, right, like you're going to be a choker, or you're not as good as I thought you were. And, I'm going to probably, choose a different partner if you can't. Well, all of a sudden, and now I've got these heavy expectations of what should happen. Well, now if I'm focused on what happens if I don't do well, I'm not focused on just simply going out there and doing.
And that ties into all sorts of things on like worrying about comparison and what people think of us and things like that. Like it goes down this road that is nowhere good.
It's all expectation, and it's all being distracted by the thing that is not what we're doing, which is either past or future, right? So my buddy Trevor Moad, who co-founded Limitless Minds, and who we lost to cancer about 4 years ago, but he would love to say, feelings are not predictors of performance, right? Actions and behaviors are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a big reason I wrote Confidence is Overrated is we so overemphasize the importance of confidence when it comes to someone performing well. Because what do you ask people? Hey, how you feeling today? How you feeling? Hey, how you feeling? How you feeling? How you feeling? Coach, I feel great. Awesome. You're going to go out there and play great today. Are you? Don't know. Hey, coach. Hey, man, how you feeling today? Coach, really nervous. Didn't sleep great last night. Man, these guys got us pretty good last time. I'm a little anxious. Oh man, then that player is absolutely going to go out there and stink it up today, right? No,
not necessarily.
Not necessarily. You asked them how they felt. You didn't ask them, what are you committed to doing today?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do today? What are you focused on? What behaviors or actions are you focused on today in order to have a good performance, have a good game? Well, coach, I mean, if I box out, right? If I get out on transition, if I deny my guy going to his left, I'm probably going to play a good game today. Awesome. Let's focus on those 2 or 3 actions today, and we'll make adjustments at halftime. Great. The feelings are a distraction. So if someone's not confident, great. Can you commit to going out there and being courageous today? Yeah, I can do that. And if you're feeling super confident, what are the odds that you're prepared to get out there and do the dirty work and do the gritty work and do the, so confidence can be a real inhibitor to doing the things that need to be done.
Yeah. All right. So if you listen to the Mental Mettle Podcast, you already know that this show is all about building real mental toughness, not the old school toughen up, basically fake stuff that usually backfires. And that's why I put together what I teach into a free 7-day email course for parents, and it's called the Resilient Parents Playbook. It walks you through several things that I talk about. First, how to shift your praise from wins and stats to effort, attitude, and other controllable behaviors. Also, how to have high standards and give honest feedback without tearing down your child's confidence. And how to teach simple, science-backed tools to handle nerves, pressure, and even those pregame stomach aches.
So if you've ever worried that you're being a little too hard on your kid or that your support might actually making things worse by giving too much pressure, well, this course goes into those topics. And it ends with a step-by-step reset conversation that you can use if you've ever felt like you've been that parent. And once again, it's completely free. You can get the link in the show notes, or you can just type it in yourself. It's resilientparentsplaybook.com. I sincerely hope you give it a shot.
It's just a feeling. It's just a feeling.
It really is. And I'm a big fan of confidence, but I get what you're saying about it being overrated, because you're going into the first play, your confidence, whether it's high or low, can be drastically altered on the first thing that happens, good or bad. Right. Your confidence almost has to be rooted more in those controllables. I have confidence that I'm going to give effort today. Well, that feels like that's something more that, like you said, that's something I'm going to choose to do.
Yeah. Which is why I love emphasizing courage over confidence. Mm-hmm. And then the other C word I love emphasizing is commitment over confidence. Hey, can you commit to these behaviors today?
Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
Because now we take the focus away from the feelings, which is like whatever. There's a great Michaela Schifrin video, if you get a chance to watch it. She did the Lewis Howes podcast, and he says on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your it's interesting. He goes, what's your belief? How confident are you in yourself? Which I now believe are two different things. She answers that question. She goes, I don't know, maybe a 2. And he goes, wait a second. He goes, your confidence is a 2. He goes, you're one of the greatest skiers in the world. How's your confidence a 2? And she goes, maybe this is an unpopular opinion, not to me. She goes, but maybe this is an unpopular opinion. She goes, I'm just never really confident, but I know what I need to do.
Yeah. But see, that's its own type of confidence.
That is,
that's confidence there's confidence in knowing what you want to do. That's not necessarily confident in the result. Those are two different things.
Well, that's why I would say there's a difference, Matt, between confidence and belief.
Yeah.
And so I think confidence is a feeling that goes up and down, usually based on what was most recent. It's like recency bias, right?
Yeah.
And it's a feeling. So I've as I work with a handful of professional athletes, they'll reach out to me and we'll do one-on-one, just check in, how you doing? And so I remember working with a couple of athletes just about a year ago. They're getting ready for their professional soccer season. And both of them, like on 2 different calls, like, hey, before I let you go, hey, I'm going into camp and I'm not feeling super confident. Can you help me with my confidence? And I was like, yeah, I just wrote a new book. You should read it. And one was like, oh yeah, right. You just wrote a book. And I was like, no. And I said, okay. I said, yeah, man, no big deal. We got this. I said, hey, did you do all the training in the off season? They're like, absolutely. I was like, so going into camp, do you believe in your ability as a pro? They're like, absolutely. I'm like, do you believe that if coach came to you and asked you anything he asked you to do you believe that you would have the ability to adjust and adapt and to get it done? And they're like, 100%.
What do they think confidence is? I
said, so what's confidence have to do with it then? You believe in your ability. Yeah. You believe that you've done the work. You believe that you can respond. And so what are they caught on, right? They're caught on this in the moment, this right. feeling of confidence, probably based on expectation that they put to mm-hmm. themselves, which is not getting them focused on the work that they've actually done. They're focused on the uncertainty of an outcome that they actually realize that they can't control.
Right. Which is
yeah. So you go back to, what do you go back to? You go back to the work, you go back to the preparation, you go back to, focusing on the behaviors over the actions. And you go out there, you have a couple of good days of training where you're focused on the right things. And if I were to call them and say, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm feeling super confident. Right? The feeling changed because the focus changed.
Yeah, no, I agree. I there's some stuff you hear in there, like we word it different, but there's so much you say in there, and the fact that like that idea of belief and confidence, whichever way you want to call it, it's they have it. They're not. So many athletes are putting so much time, effort, and energy into being good, and then not recognizing that work. But they just, for some reason, they have this in belief in their confidence or ability. I'm like, it's just because you're not focusing on the right stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like that's
but
that's a kind of a human thing, right? To look for those negatives, look for those problems, not to look for the positives.
Most of us have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And we all have a mental picture in our head of what confidence looks like. And confidence looks like fearlessness. And yet most of us walk around with a sense of imposter syndrome. So why don't most of us feel confident, Matt? Because we have been sold a picture of what confidence and swagger looks like when most of us don't feel it internally. And so we can't lie to ourselves. Right. So if someone is not feeling that they don't internally have that fake image of what confidence and swagger looks like, they still feel like all the work and all the preparation they've done isn't enough. Why? Because they don't feel this fake bill of goods that they've been sold as the most important thing for them to go out and perform at a high level.
Well, and our picture, like you said, that cultural picture of confidence is a whole lot more pointed something towards arrogance, which is not like that falls apart real fast. Like the first time you get hit. Yeah. It's more, but you're right. The confidence should be more rooted in your reaction, how you're going to react with controllables when uncontrollables happen, which is or
if you're like a lot of coaches that I had growing up, they would tell you, hey, there's nothing to be afraid of. Let's go out there and be fearless today.
Yeah.
And come on, let's be courageous.
Yeah.
You're like, well, wait a second. Which one is it?
Yeah.
Is it fearless or
courage?
Because
if you're telling me there's nothing to be afraid of, then why would I not be? Like, you know what I mean? You can't have it both ways.
I don't need courage if I'm fearless.
Yeah.
Which one am I supposed to have? Right?
Yeah.
Why are you using them interchangeably when they're two completely different things?
Oh, man, Travis, this is fantastic.
Yeah,
this is like, I could keep going, but we're gonna have to. Like, I'm not sure everybody is.
Yeah, your audience, they quit listening about 20 minutes ago.
I know. I'm not sure everybody's as geeked out about it as we are. But I think that there's a lot to it there, and I know I'm picking up stuff from it, and I think it's fantastic. But as we're running out of time, I got to throw you one more question. I always ask this question at the end. What did I not ask you that I should have?
Oh, what did you not ask me that you should have? That's a good question. Yeah. Okay. So I'll trust myself here. And I just did my own little word toss in my head there.
I got it.
I was like, all right, yeah. What comes to mind? And what comes to mind is when I'm not feeling confident. Mm-hmm. And I'm using the universal I. So any of us listening. So when I'm not feeling confident, what can I do? And it's a concept that I talk a little bit about in Confidence is Overrated, but I have found it to be kind of super helpful in working with other people is when we sort of lose our confidence or things aren't going well. And it's human nature. It's survival instincts. We all tend to go internal, right? Our focus goes internal. We go navel gazing, right? Yeah. We get in our heads, and we start just kind of thinking about just me, and it never makes the situation better. And so the key is kind of like when we're stuck or we're in a funk or things aren't going well, whether that's in the actual moment of the game or outside of it, is the opportunity is instead of going internal, which just goes deeper into the abyss of negativity,
Yes.
Well, there's no solutions.
No.
We actually, the key is to go external. And like, what do you mean by external? External is, hey, I'm having a crummy day today, but I'm going to see how Matt's doing. Matt, man, how's that project you're going, working on? Or if Matt's my teammate, hey, Matt, man, hey, how's it going, man? Maybe Matt hasn't been playing. I'm in a funk, but I'm playing minutes. Matt's in a funk. He hasn't seen the field in 2 weeks. He's probably not feeling great. Maybe I can see how he's doing. Hey, Matt, how are you doing, man? Hey, what's going on? Now I start thinking about how can I get my head up and look around and go, or like, oh, wow, man, I am playing crummy, but what a beautiful day today. And, I'm going to extra after trying, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm just going to walk. I'm just going to appreciate the beauty. Like when we go external and from an improvisational standpoint, there's a mantra, you use in improv, which is my goal when I step on stage is to make my partner look brilliant. And my partner's goal is what?
The same.
Yeah, to make me look brilliant. Because to go all the way back to the start, which is performances in the present moment, if you and I get on stage together and we've got to create a story out of nothing, and that's a scary proposition to be in. And so the temptation is for each of us to go inside our own heads and start overthinking what we need to do to tell a story, which then has us not paying attention to one another, not listening to one another or connecting with one another. So we start trying to tell a story that's disconnected because neither one of us is focused on the other person. Just think about this in relationships, marriages, companies, teams, sports, right? Yeah. And if I'm trained improvisationally to go, wait a second, my goal is to make Matt look good. And so maybe I give Matt the first idea, or maybe I let Matt have the first idea, but I'm like, oh, wait a second. I need to focus on Matt. So get out of my internal, go external. And you say, Travis, I can't wait to go to the dance tonight. And now all I have to do is yes and the one idea you gave me.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's going to be awesome. You're finally going to ask Jennifer out.
Yeah.
And you're going to go, yes, and she's bringing her twin sister. This is a double date. So if I know that my goal to success is by focusing on my partner and making him look good, all of a sudden I'm making him look good. He's making me look good because we're adhering to this principle. That funk that I was in because I got too internal has now gone external. And now I'm probably actually performing at a high level because I stopped thinking about me and I started focusing on we.
Yeah.
And by raising up your level, my level is going to automatically raise up at the same time. Why? Because I'm the roadblock to my success and I've got myself out of the way.
Right. Dude, there's so much in there. I see you talking about gaining different perspectives. I see you practicing gratitude. I see you doing all these things that are just great tools that just come from you saying, I'm going to make somebody else look good. And what a phenomenal way to get yourself out of your own funk. But also if everybody on a team is doing that's how you get connection within a team.
That's it. If you can create a culture, with that type of mindset, it's going to be a really, really hard team to beat. And
it's fantastic.
And it was fun.
Well, and and the best part about it is, Travis, and we don't, again, I got to shut this down here in a second here, but like you and I have not once talked about the importance of winning. And because that is that's like the worst thing to focus on, right?
Yeah. And who's not trying to win?
Of course, that's a given, right? So, which is why it's a given. So we don't have to focus on that. You're trying to do things almost subconsciously or under the radar that going to get you there. And that's, like you said, if you coach a team sport or play a team sport, and if you can get every teammate to think about how am I going to make my teammates look good and how am I going to build my teammates up, that's how we get somebody better at a team sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know. It's phenomenal. I love it. Travis, has been fantastic. I can't thank you enough for coming
absolutely.
on.
My pleasure.
It's been a great conversation, and I will definitely stay in touch with you.
Please do, Matt. Anytime. I'd love to do it again.
Yeah, awesome. I'll come up with some specific ideas, or I run out of guests, which isn't happening anytime soon. But if that happens, I will, even if I just want to, because I feel like we clearly shut this conversation down. We could have kept going for a couple more hours. So
there we go. There's more improv to be had.
There's more there. All right, Travis, thank you so much for coming on the show. Sure appreciate it.
You got it. Take care.
Your athlete probably spends hours working on the specific skill set they need for their sport. And they probably spend hours in the weight room building their body. But how much time do they spend intentionally training their mind? Well, building mindset is the key to bridging the gap between the skills that we see and game execution. Well, Mental Mettle Coaching provides individual programs that can help your athlete develop this third and crucial skill set.
There's a saying that I say sometimes when I'm working with parents, talking about your athlete when you talk to them after the game. And you've heard the idea of, what is it called, like a compliment sandwich, where you talk about something they do well to then bring up something that they didn't do well and then finish with something they did well. So it's good, bad, good. And I don't necessarily disagree with that idea. There's at least it's more positive than negative. But I will tell you that in a conversation, coaches or kids get used to it, and they don't listen until they hear the but. Okay, so our human brains are wired for that negativity. I've talked about it on this show. And when they know that's coming, they don't listen to your positives. They're waiting for the but. So when we go, yes, this is good, but that's when they start listening. And what's really cool about improv and the way that Travis does this is that there is no but. All right, there's no negative. It's yes and I know the skeptics, and the downside of this is that we do have to be thinking about the things we need to do well, we don't do well, in order to get better and pick that up. But I think that what we're trying to do is move the needle. We tend to be too negative, so the idea of thinking yes and makes us look at the positives more than the negatives, which is something a lot of people struggle with. Most of us struggle with. So we're talking about, again, moving the needle and being more positive than we usually are, and building that culture around positivity and having growth that is, positivity is required for growth. Gratitude. I talk about this all the time, that gratitude is a form of positivity. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but it is the parent of all others. We have to have gratitude in order to grow. Positivity is something we have to have, and the yes and culture builds that. There's so many good things about it. Not just the positivity, but the positivity as it's aimed at somebody else. Like if you respond in a way that, like, how can I make somebody else look good when I talk and in our conversation? And that is a culture we want to build, is making others look better. And he talked about it on here, that what we're doing, or what he's doing with the yes and practicing gratitude and things like this, we're flexing a muscle. We're flexing like a positivity muscle. We're learning to get better at this because we aren't good at it. That's the whole point of this type of coaching, is to help us build that positivity muscle. And I would say that's how neuroplasticity works. We need to start to see the world in a more positive way. That takes work. I talk about all the time, the way that I work on stuff is we have to have recognition of an issue and then repetition on something to get better at it. So in this conversation, it might be, well, I tend to be negative. I tend to be a very yes but person. Well, I know this is a good idea. This might work, but here's the problem with it. And we want to change that into a yes and. So that's our recognition. Well, the yes and is having conversations like this yes and trying to make others look better. And using that type of tool is it's a repetition. It's practicing how to do that. And it's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant the way Travis does it. There's no surprise that he is as successful as he has been, and just how he's doing it, how he's able to reset. His views on confidence are extremely interesting, and having belief in your preparation. That's a very positive thing, and just the way it helps us athletes to get out of their head. Not forget athletes young. We think athletes, we think young, but he works with people of all ages in all works of life, walks of life, like he's at corporate and all sorts of things. So this is something that's good for everybody. So yeah, there's ways you can play this on your own without Travis showing up. But all his stuff's in the show notes. If you want to read his book, check any of that stuff out. I highly recommend it. I'll be checking out his book and reading it. Really good stuff with Travis Thomas. Live Yes And is his book, and he's got a new one coming up called Confidence is Overrated, which I can't wait to read that too, just to see his thoughts on that. So thanks for joining me. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you're listening to this. Hit subscribe, hit like, share it with somebody. Really do me a favor. It is very helpful if you hit those buttons for me. You listen, hit a button. That should be a rule. You listen to the podcast, hit a button, please. That's a like, share, a subscribe, or a share. So that's my ask of you. You listen to the podcast. If you're hearing this, hit a button. Doesn't matter what, just do something to help me out. I really appreciate it. So thanks for listening. I genuinely appreciate it. This has been the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann, and always remember to forge your metal.
Thanks for listening to the Mental Mettle Podcast. Don't forget to tune in every week for more insights and strategies to help you forge mental toughness and resilience. This podcast is brought to you by Mental Mettle Coaching, where we are driven by a passion for sharing knowledge and experience that empowers others to play, live, and grow with confidence. Our mission is to instill a resilient and spirited mindset in our clients, enabling them to confidently face adversity and actively seek new challenges for personal growth. At Mental Mettle Coaching, we offer individual coaching, group coaching, and professional development for schools and businesses. Whether you're an athlete, educator, or professional, we're here to help you unlock your potential and thrive in every area of life. Until next time, keep growing, stay resilient, and always remember to forge your metal.